Okay, let's go to the framework PPT. Let me know you guys are seeing my screen. I'm not shared. I'll let you know once it's shared. Okay.
Nothing yet, John. Yep, it's coming
Let
up.
me know if you see my screen. Okay. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
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 Okay. So basically, like FMC framework, so works on. Um, so FSC framework is basically is from the. It is called as the FRMC automation framework. So basically, it is a hybrid modular framework, and if in the framework, what happens, like we have basically developed using the Maven. So Maven modules. In the Maven, the modules why we have used in the FMC, we have a various applications. We have like EDMS. You guys are aware of it. EDMS, Sales Portal, LA Portal, and also like we have a Liquid, right? So in order to make sure that everything application should be integrated, so what we have done, we have created a module which based on the Maven modules. Like so basically to handle the script, these are all the important points I'll read out. To handle the script maintenance appropriately, this framework mainly divided into application layer and also automation test layer. So we are divided into two layers, applications layers. So basically when you say the application layer, those are all nothing but our page object model, mainly comes into the page object model. So you guys are aware of this page object model, like anybody knows POM, page object model? Yeah,
I have idea a little bit.
no, go ahead.
So basically, page object model is that for the maintenance point of view, all the objects on individual page, we keep it separately. So the maintenance become very easier. So when there is an element change, the address change of that individual element is easy to, it's just a one place you can change it and it don't affect the whole application. You don't need to change multiple places.
So just little bit extension of it, what we have used. So basically, like, whatever Kushal said is correct. Thanks, Kushal. So basically, we have divided into the application layer, that is nothing but our page object model. Each page has a page classes. So in the page classes, that is nothing but a Java classes in the basic way of Java level, like, it's a Java class. In the Java classes, what we have the functions, operations, what we are going to do, like look operations, entering the objects, entering the text into that, drop down text like that, right? That is called as actually the application layer, and that is nothing but our page object patterns. And also like automation test layer means that is where we use our script for executions. So we were going to write the test. So this is where the actual our automation things also comes into picture. So I just forgot to explain you, like, Maven module on the top of the Maven module, sorry, API, Selenium API. So on top of it, we have created the Maven module along with the test engine. So if you say the test engine is basically used for, like, reporting the issues, creating the assets, and also it's helpful in the running the scripts, actually parallel mode. You want to run the scripts in the parallel mode. So testng is the one which act as a, like, running. And also like testng can be used for picking off the various type of the classes, right? Like for the execution of script executions and all. So what we testng basically does it creates the suits for us, like, so suits for us, for the suit what we need in test cases, we need a pass the parameter, and in order to pass the, in order to execute in a parallel, as I said, parallel, or in order to grouping out. So in that is the case, we can use it, like, we have a test suite for the regression, we have a test suite for the functional testing, or test suite for the specific application like lock clone. We can use it actually, testng. That's how testng is used, right? So, and the modular approach is used for handling the application integration testing, and also like end-to-end testing to run the multiple input data. So to run the multiple input data, we have our own test data. So test data layer where we have it's a kind of architecture, right? It's kind of the packages, how you assign the packages, how you segregate the packages, right? So in that is the case, we have a Excel, CSV. Excel is our old things and all we used to use. Now we are into the little bit kind of JSON and also CSV. some of them we are using actually. So CSV file, it is a lightweighted one. So we are basically, we are planning to use it, in the future. That's what we are doing currently, current and future, right? And also we have a separate database module is created for handling the various database connectivity. Like, we want to do a database connectivity. So we have a database module, like, we have a SQL and we have Oracle. So those kind of things, like, so which can be used across the different tests or different applications, right? So that's why we separated to the database module. Okay. To organize the application UI layer, like, separate model is created for each application using the page object model. That's what I was saying. Like, in the UI layer will be separated out. So specific to the application. So based on that, like, we have created the separate modules. Like, those are all nothing but uneven modules. Like, for example, say we have a sales portal applications. So we have a separate page classes for it actually. So, and similarly, like, we have a EDMS, and we have like a LA portal, consumer portal, app to close. So those kind of things we have. App to close is a part of the consumer portal. So we have the packages created there and we are using right now, right? So
So all the portals will have the separate project, or is the same project we have
yeah, it is
multiple?
a Maven module approach. I will show you that one. It's a Maven. If I correct spelling correctly, Maven is the one which will, I will show you that how we can assign the Maven module. You are correct. As a layman perspective, if you go a Java kind of things, those are all separate projects actually.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
created as a Maven modules, like separate modules. That's how we did. Okay. And any more question? Okay, good. So reporting model is used for reporting execution, result appropriately. There is a report modules are created actually. So basically we use a two-way, a three-way, I would say, sales portal, says something like we have a, like one is extended report, and we have a, and also test engine, customized test engine report. And one more, some of the framework we are using, like Excel sheet itself, like, it goes and update the results in the Excel sheet. So that is what one of the project we are using it actually. But extensively we are using for extend report and also test engine report actually. Okay. Okay. So then modular approach is used for extended support, various platform like technology like web-based application, open edge applications. It's the Liquid. Liquid is the one of the open edge application. So basically, like, actual Selenium API won't work here. So what we have done, so we have created a page class, still the page class level architecture, but we have used the JTA jars. There are separate jars are there to act upon the Liquid, because Liquid is like a kind of mainframe, but we should not tell anywhere mainframe application. It's an open edge application. So which requires a emulator. To do the emulator, so we have used the separate JTA jars and jars actually to automating actually. So I will show you when will detailedly when comes actually. Today is the only just overview and answer which is related to that. When the Liquid comes, me or Ramesh will show you. Okay. And also like client server application, mobile and API services. Like, yeah, we were using the API services separate module. We have mobile, we are extending now current framework. API services, what we have currently, like different type of services, like some of them we did in the Salesforce, some of them we did in the other applications like app to close. So we are enhancing in the Liquid level API services also we are working on it. And third one is customizable framework, which can be used for BDD process. Like, so when I say the BDD process, is nothing but a behavioral driven development. So in this case, what happens, like basically like the users depends on the tech, whatever the things, like basically we depends on the business actually, business scenarios, business functionality, right? Like reuse business functions actually, sorry, business functions. That's how, like, basically it is written by the developer, sorry, business. They are the one going to write the test cases. To make that easy for them, there is a English like language is created, that Jerpin language, that is called Jerpin language. That is basically called as a Cucumber. Cucumber is the one which is also integrated with our framework right now. So we can also use it, but we are not using at all any of our project right now. But the framework is can be extendable using the Cucumber framework, Cucumber also. So Cucumber is one of the BDD process approach which can support the BDD process actually, right? So before moving next slide, anybody has any question?
So for mobile testing, we are using the same framework or we are using something separate?
Okay, so when you say the framework, yes, it's the same framework. When you say the APIs, it
But
will be
we're gonna use APM or something. That's what my question
that's
is.
the one we are using. When you say the technology, what you are using, when
Yeah,
you say,
yeah.
so we are going to use the APM actually. That's what we are announcing actually.
Okay.
Any other question? Okay, let's go to framework. Let's see how it looks. Okay, this is how a diagram or flow chart looks like. That how the diagram would be like. Basically we have decoupled the framework layer and also automation test layers. So these are all the separate layers actually. So we are decoupled actually, but still is integrated. So how it is integrated? That's where the Maven comes into picture. So using the Maven dependencies, so there is something called as dependency. If you are aware of that, I think Ravi was explaining. Basically we have to use the different type of the dependencies instead of the jars. That's the basic word, dependency. Dependency, we can use it actually to integrate the or download the jars automatically when we are doing kickoffing our scripts. In turn, the dependency, what happens, it is downloads the jar from the Maven repository and keeps for you to run this script actually, because we can write a script using those dependency, and when you are running, so what happens is Maven, the build tool, will help us to download the jars which can support us to executing of the scripts. Okay. Okay. Actually, if you go to this framework layer, basically we have a page object, object properties, reusable business. These are as simple as it is, Selenium. So, and also like Java, just I'll go to later that one. So basically Selenium, what happens, it's the same thing like, page object model. So POM models actually. So we have our page classes created for each application. And property, when I say the object property is nothing but to identify an object. You guys are already aware of it, Java and also Selenium. So identify an object, we have a properties or identifier, like, so we have identifier, like different type of the identifier we have identifier like IDs, partial text, XPath, CSS selector. Those are all kind of object properties. That's what it means. Okay, reusable business functions are the one which can be reusable, throughout the application, throughout the scripting, or throughout the application execution. That is called as reusable execution. So core framework layer, like it's nothing but API service layer, common utility layer, database layer, and test engine layer. These are all different. I already told you test engine is the base for creating the reports, right? For creating the reports, basically we use the test engine, right? We use the test engine for the creating the report, and database layer will be used for database connection. API service layer used for API servicing. So these are all created as a separate projects which can be used across the different applications actually. Okay, commonalities are, for example, say I wanted to handle the file, I wanted to handle the XML files, or I'm doing some kind of string manipulations. So these are all available already, most of them, so that you guys can easily script it. You don't need to go create it. So basically, these are all the common utility which can use our date functions, which can be used as a common utility, and also like services, some of the service functions also we created as a common utility, which can be used actually when scripting. Okay. uh, okay, so then automation test layer is nothing but we have a separate project for it. It's really the Maven project, separate projects actually. This is not a module. This one is a separate project, like in Maven projects. We have consumer portal test, LA portal test, Docker test, EDMS test. These are all the separate Java projects which we have created. So actual scripting happens here. So these are all the, you can go and see that your scripting, your functionality, whatever is there you can see here. So basically we can what I want to say, we can see that what exactly the uh, like, um, error handling in the sense uh, uh, mm, asserts, type of asserts, identifying the objects and operations on an object. Basically it calls the inbuilt actions from here, but still these are all reusable kind of things we used here. So each test scripts. So based on the application actually. And this is nothing but a test data layer. So basically we have our flat files, CSV files, and also JSON. So JSON is not extensively we are using. Some of the inputs we also use the XML files. So that's how the data layer, test data layer will works. And this is a test execution layer and application under test. This is called test application under test what we are going to do operation. So do you have any questions on this? Good. Good, no questions. Okay, fine. So, okay. So these are all like basically like the framework, like the execution flow, how we do it. Every time, like you guys have an idea, like you guys are requesting, like to do a execution and all. Like we wanted to execute the script. We have to kick off the scripts, and some of the team members knows that, like they are requesting us to execution of the scripts. So basically, all our scripts, once we develop the scripts, will be stored into the GitHub. GitHub is the repository for our script, automation script. Our framework also resided in the GitHub. So in the GitHub, whatever the coding we do, for example, we are developing some of the coding and all, right, like basically what we do, like we'll go and create the script, and then and we will go into update the script, whoever updating or creating the script, update the script, and they will going to commit it. So basically before committing, they are going to create the branches. We'll show you how to create the branches, you know how the naming convention in the branch. We have to use the certain formats. We will tell you that we are going to create the branch. First we clone the project from the git. Suppose say you are going to from the scratch, we clone the project from the git. Once we clone the project, we are going to create the branches. So we are not going to work on anything on the master branch, because master branch shouldn't be updated at all. So basically, think what happens, somebody go and did something else, master branch will be used, like so which will be the, I would say master branch is the one latest copy. We should not update anything until unless it's approved by, especially now, actually I don't know in future, me and Ramesh. So we are going to review the script and we are going to approve the script. So basically once they uh, taken the clone the project, created the branch and committed the branch, and then they go to the in the GitHub and going to create a PR request, pull request, and they will going to assign to the me and Ramesh. So once it is assigned, me and Ramesh go to the, most of the time me and Ramesh, if I'm absent, Ramesh will go usually. He will go and he will do the review the scripts and codes and all. So everything looks good. Like then we go to update it actually. So commit it in the GitHub, confirm it. So once the confirm is happened, the code goes to the actual Git master branch, right? That's the process. So in the, that's what the git will happens. Like basically in this case, like we use the TextNG XML for the execution of the script. This is a driver actually, a driver script. So basically what happens, that is a suit. I already told you TextNG XML holds the a suit. TextNG all the our automation suit, it will be holds that, like that will be created as a jobs in the Jenkins. So by using this SNG XML, so we create a job in the Jenkins, and that will be kicked off by scheduler, either by scheduling or by manually we can go ahead and clicking on a job and we can kick off it actually. So once we kicking off it actually, so we have a distributor, like in we use the actually for the execution. You all know that actually this is nothing but a Selenium grid. Selenium grid is the one which will be used for distributing our executions. So when we, and usually it creates the threads and distributes it, right? So that's how it happens. So basically, like we have the script, like 10 or 15 test cases. So we are going to distribute that one across the different slave machines. So Selenium grid is basically now we are standalone configured in the hub. We create one machine as a hub. We created one machine as a hub. In that, like Selenium standalone is configured actually. So that will like when you kick off that, like so this test engine will have the like hub URL, so that like which hub we are going to access it, and that hub will be distributed the whatever the nodes is registered to the hub, right? that will be kicked off actually. It will be executed in the particular node, right? Sorry, hub and node. So sometimes we use the hub also. So basically now don't want it to hub and node. So that's hub is the one which will be kicked off the executions. So basically, and it will be registered the node. So it will distribute the execution of the script in the registered node. These are all the nodes which are registered to the hub. As of now, we have a 10 machines, so we will be going to use that 10 machines for it. Okay, so once the execution is completed, we have a two type of results. One is uh, uh, extent report, another one is actually the custom report, test engine custom reports. So usually the test engine custom reports will be sent to the email body. So basically we will send that email body once the execution is completed. And also we use the attached as the extended report. There's a two reports. The report which you are seeing now is actually extended report that will be attached as in the email body also. Okay, any questions? I'm fast.
Uh,
If I'm fast, please stop me.
yeah, I just have one question, John.
Yeah.
So, in case if I want to customize the test execution, do we need to update the driver script every time, or we have a Jenkins job for that?
Repeat that question. Ravi, what is the question?
No, I was asking in case if I want to customize the test execution, like I want to execute only specific test cases. So, do we need to update the driver script, or we have a Jenkins job for that?
So Jenkins job usually we won't do, right? These Jenkins jobs are created as a functionality based on this test engine. Test engine is my test engine XML is my suite actually. In that suite we define it actually what class we are going to run it actually. So for example, so basically what we do, right? Java class will be created. I'll show you in the test level. So we will create the Java class for happy path. Okay, that is nothing but a test engine class, and that will be configured in the test engine. So test engine is the one which will be based on the functionality it will be created actually. So or functionality or the type of application you say, so it will be created. So that will be the one we are going to kick off it. For example, you want to change anything, we are going to update in the test engine and which has to be pushed out. So what as an automation tester will decide it, what should be included in the test engine, what functionality will be included. Based on that only we are going to kick off it. And we are not going to update anything in the test engine. We are going to update our suite in the job, Jenkins job. We are going to update our suite in the test engine. Is that answerable your question?
Yeah, I got it, John. Probably while you're doing demo, I'll get a more clear picture.
Okay, sure.
It, John, it means like that we are using the annotation for test ng. So depend on what we want to execute, we just use that annotation and it will run only that test cases, right?
Yeah, that's the two things, right? One is annotations. We also provide that grouping, right? In the
Right.
test annotations, which is called as a grouping, which is regression or something, right?
Right.
It's particular functionality that can be done. So one or two steps we have done it, but basically what we have done it in the test ng, we have created the class specific to the functionality, or in that actually we created the each test cases separately. So test cases to the particular scenarios or bunch of the scenarios. That's how it is divided. Okay.
Uh,
Okay. Okay. These are all the some of the FRMC automation benefits. So this framework is developed open on the source API Selenium. Okay, the main source will be API Selenium API and Java jars. Java jars mainly supported for the liquid, and also we have provided the data driven capability which helps the create the test with the multiple data, and also we'll use the parallel test execution. So parallel test execution, the test engine, we can make sure that there's a parallel or non-parallel or something like that. Reusability of test data with the various test scenarios are created. So Maven modular framework helps in the end-to-end testing with the downstream and also upstream application using Maven dependencies. Framework is mainly developed using the Java, and so its platform is independent. We all know that. Test suites are independent of the decoupled and actual. That's what actually test suites are independent and decoupled the actual framework, which makes the script execution and maintenance the test faster compared to the original framework actually. So when you are kicking off the test, so it will be easy. Like you don't need to have everything to be loaded one shot in the when you are executing the test suite or a test job in the Jenkins. So it can be used for CI/CD extent. Now we are working on it, and also like vertical horizontal capability provides in the better ROI. The Maven module provides the feasibility in adding the other technology like mobile testing and existing framework providing the Maven dependency. So these are all the dependencies we are going to use it. Actually, that's how we do. Okay. So any questions? Good. Okay. Let me get into that GitHub and show you like how our framework works. Okay. 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 So this is what the actual FRMC automation. So this is what our framework. So this in this case, what happens like the each folder represent the basically like in the layman perspective, these are all the separate projects related to the application. For example, when you wanted to see that like specific to the EDMS, you can go and see that page classes related to this. Like or you wanted to see the LA portal, you can go and see this one. So LKW, this is nothing but a lake code, you can see this one. Salesforce, we can see Salesforce here. And this is nothing but its test, is just test for it, and also this is a test engine. So this is we created as a separate framework, means like which can be used across this. So as a dependency, that's how we created here. And also like when we go to the, for example, I have in a consumer portal like so in the QA, so just wanted to let app to close, these are all separate projects, separate package which we have created actually. So app to close related, it's like scripts are created here. These are all the classes actually, right? So what are the actions we are going to do? So like these are all the properties, how the properties will be identified, right? So these are all these are all the actions we are going to use it. Like for example, we wanted to do a response request, I don't know, these are all the methods, so which we have created to create the response, right? These are all API related stuffs actually. So we want to do a say eSign login, document package retrieval. These are all related to uh, the services actually, right? Similarly, okay, go back to this. These are all like API. That's all API related. That's not related to that one. Okay, pages like consent page. So one knows it very well. So okay, these are all the different kind of properties what we have in the consent pages actually. So these are all the identifications. So calling the icon, docket tech iframe. These are identifying the iframe, how we are identifying. And these are all the just you wanted to reiterate that properties which I was telling in the framework, right? These are all the properties actually, different type of properties what we have. And these are all the actions we are going to do, like same page object concept, right? Like these element are there, it's going to check that element is available. Switch to framework, we will have a switch to framework, like kind of that we have created the methods to handle that various actions on application, right? This is what it is. We'll take you in detail on this, but not today. I was told by like give the framework overview today. I'm just reading this out there. Okay. This is related to that, and if you go to that, if you can see this framework, we don't have any executor here, right? So only thing is I wanted to explain you how the POM file looks like this is our POM file. I was repeatedly explaining your main module. This is what the main module structure. So when you go to the POM file, so these are all the different type of modules, like which we have created, which you can see the POM XML. So it's a part of that Maven module, right? This is how the modules are created. And when you create it like this, it automatically creates the a framework like a framework like structure or project like structure. So I will just pull and I'll show you. Okay, this is actually when you pull it into the Eclipse, you can go and see this, right? So this is our uh, FRMC core automation. So you can also see this all the projects here, right? So each project will be a separate Maven project, but that won't be seen in there. But when you pull it out, you can see this actually. So for example, I want to see that API, I want to see the EDM. This is a test actually. This is all a test. Whatever identified as a test is a test separate one. I'll go for that later. And this is FRMC BAT applications. You can see this. These are all the packages. So which we have arranged in terms of the packages. So for example, in case of suppose a BAT will be used for consumer, I'm just making up like an EDMS, so email. So we can integrate it easily. How we can integrate the easily? So that will be shown in the, I will show you in the one of the test. Suppose say consumer portal, right? So this is a consumer portal. So we can go to the pond.xml here. So these are all the separate dependencies. How you add your may, API for Selenium, right? Like that, dependencies are added here. Each project dependencies are added here so that all the objects, all the page objects, all the actions, we can pull it out in the particular test. That's how it is. This is an example of the a consumer test. And this is not a framework, which is a test actually, which will be a separate from the framework actually. That's how I said that in uh, the framework. This is separate like consumer tab. Whatever I'm explaining you this one, whatever explained before this one, the framework is this one. This is what you see here, automation framework, which has all the page objects related stuff, and the test is the one separated out. Separated out, you can see this here, consumer portal test. So I think we have created for app to close separate test. You can also see this here separately. We have created it, and also like an EDMS test. Like we have created the EDMS test here. And for example, I am creating the scripts here, so you don't need to go to that core project and do that. So you can just add the dependencies here. This is a dependency. Suppose I'm working on a EDMS test day one itself. You created something. So this dependency automatically, when you check in the code, like from the code, it pulls everything for you. EDMS, whatever the pages, whatever the required operations, we needed actions, that will be pulled out by using this one. And also like we also use the testng, FRMC testng. Why we use the FRMC testng? All the assets, creating the suits and all, depending on this dependency. And also like we also have a FRMC common dependency. So that is nothing but this is a FRMC common. Like there is a common with it, right? We go to the common. Common. Okay, this is a common one. So you see all the methods: CVS utility, date functions, email utility, Excel utility, HTTP functions. These are all the common functions are available. When you add this dependency to that one, so easily we can call that so particular project. So we don't need to go to that every time writing the specific utilities are there. If you call into that project, just enough like I know that you are all from the different applications, right? So basically, you can go ahead and you can call that one. So based on the applications, it will come. Like you can use it and in your script actually. Okay, this is what are related to that. This one, sorry, time check. I'm just checking how many hours I mean, how much time I have to do it actually. Okay, I still have time. Okay, so this is what it is actually. So FRMC common will be that like we can go ahead and get the common methods whatever we are going to use it, right? So methods are actions we are going to use it actually. So you can also navigate it. What is there in the FRMC common? These are all the comments. So FRMC common also like which has a POE which is related for, because if you see the common, right? So in the common what happens? We also have a CSV file related, date function related. We don't need to add everything every time then. You just call this common utility. These dependencies will automatically come. So we don't need to have a like API again, POE API again and again, right? So when you add this as a dependency, you will get all this actually automatically pulled into that one. So that's how which is configured actually, right? So see, these many dependencies are there. We don't need to call into that EDMS, right, directly. We just need to call a common. So what does it common actually in the EDMS? It pulls everything, all the dependencies jars. So you can go here, you can see this just in a common, which includes everything. So all the dependencies automatically comes, right? These are all the dependencies. So that's the beauty of Maven, right? So it calls everything. If you add it as a dependency, you will have all the jars needed for the particular script execution or creation of the script. Okay. So this is related to the test. So do you have any question on this? Yes.
So just to make sure, if any dependencies is getting updated or if we change the version, we can do only at the common form file, correct?
Yeah, common file we can do that. Like version Maven version, what is that called? Maven version maintenance we have not done as of now. So everything will be snapshot one only right now. Okay. So we don't have any version capability now. We didn't added the version capability. We are planning to have in the future. Right now we have a same version. So whatever, for answer to your question, whatever the updation you do it here, because of the dependency you have it, everything will be updated in the script level also. Is that
Okay,
answer?
okay, got it. Thank you, John.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, but there is a one thing also there. When we execute the script, we will show you either me or Ramesh that needs to be done. So along with that, so that we'll do that. But in your question, whatever you are updating in the Maven, if you build that particular as a part of the Maven as a part of Maven, if you build the tool, automatically it pulls the particular jars into that particular test in the execution also, in the development also. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
And also like let's go back to GitHub. Right. So if you go to GitHub actually, so here actually like what I was explaining, this is the framework one, and if you go to here, the main things, these are all the projects, we different project we have, IBM test, LA portal test, app to close test. So these are decoupled actually. So these are different tests actually. For example, you want to go to LA portal test. So you can see there's like, these are all the actual structure and packages, right? So we go to the actual, you can go and see this test actually. So LA portal test. Basically, does it see? These are all the jars for import, right? Based on that, what we use. So, and these are all the tests actually, how we create the test. So login into the application, same thing, user, password. These are all like, already created, and driver class. We were not doing anything. So the good thing is like, maybe in the next class, me or Ramesh will explain like, how we created the driver class, what are the dependency, like, all the Java concepts are used here. Like one is encapsulations, inheritance, and also like, so interfaces where there is nothing but a inheritance, right? All the inheritance, and also like interface implementation, everything is created, used here actually. And also like Java generic. So if you go to this one, there is a beautiful concept called Java generic that is also used in the framework actually, using the different APIs, right? So that's what it is like. And also assets will be the one which is a custom assets we have. But if you go to inside actually, it will be like, handled appropriately using the error handling, using the what is that called, like our test ng handling methods, like, try catch methods. So all the error handling will be handled here. So basically it is not a straightforward test engine, right? So we have created the wrapper classes here. So these are all the wrapper classes which we have created here. So these are all the way of creating, and we are not calling any of the page object or something, because these are all the actions are like, inside it actually. So inside the page object to well maintenance purpose, like, page object model. That's how we created actually. Okay. And these are all the certain kind of standards what we use it. So we'll explain you in the next class. And these are all the classes, right, which we have created. How this route will be created? If you go to this LA portal test, and these are all the XMLs, right? So these are all the XMLs which we have created. So when you created, actually test classes are created, like how the classes will be there, then what classes we are running. For example, I want to run the regression LA test. Okay, that's how we have a regression LA test classes are there. So this is actually the test class which we have created, and these are all the parameters, right? Like whether it is in the parallel testing I'm using, or I'm using the grid. Yes, using grid here. Some of the tests there is a particular things are there. So one of the test which is Suma project. Suma is there? Suma,
Sorry, John, I
you are
was
there?
talking on mute. Yes,
You
I'm
are there?
here. Yes, yes.
Okay. App to close project, like we cannot use that multiple login actually with applications and all. So we were doing like that is for vertical using, right, Suma, right? One
Yeah.
login we cannot use multiple, right? Yeah,
Yes.
that's for the limitations of the accounts.
Hello, are you guys there? Can you guys hear me? Yeah, Vidit, I'm able to hear you. Did we lose John?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so, yes. Ramesh, you there?
Yeah, I'm here, but I'm wondering like how if I think John is the host, right? How come we are still in the meeting?
Okay, he left us alone.
Oh, Kaushal is the host now. Okay.
Okay. I thought it was me having the problem. Looks like he's joining back.
Oh, sorry guys, I lost you guys. Sorry. You guys able to hear me?
Yes, John,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
can hear you.
Okay, sorry. Okay, I'm back actually. Maybe due to some of the network issue. Yeah, you can able to see my screen, right? Like, I'll share back again. Okay. You see the Git? Do you guys see the Git?
Yes, John.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yes.
that's how it is. Like, the these are all the parameters for for the different inputs, like grid URL, uh, browser, which browser we are using, and what class are using. Like, this is nothing but actually the listeners, like what listeners we are using. Actually, two type of listeners will use it. One is basically for the result reporting, and we use it actually custom procedure reports. And if other one for re-execution. So we don't want to discuss on that. Like basically this is an important one. The
So,
report
John, quick question. You
based
were
on the
saying,
that's
yeah, you were talking about something for the app to close, John. Could you please repeat that before you got
after
disconnected?
close what happens, right? So
Mm-hmm.
because we have a limited number of the accounts, I cannot kick it off as a distribution environment, like one account at one session at a time, right, Suma?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, one user at a time.
as
Yeah.
a distribution actually. So what happens? Same accounts we cannot use in the multiple login. So that will fails the script. That's the reason we are running in the locally. Locally means not my locally. It's in the VM machine locally. Usually the code will be installed in the VM machines. That's where we are going to kick off the script actually. So that's how we do it. So basically we use the distribution manner. Let's think about like that way only. We are distributing our execution and we are executing actually. That's how we do it using the grid. Okay. Any questions? So this is one of the VM. what we have. So whenever we kick off the executions, so this is one of the VM what we want to kick off the execution actually. So okay, before go to the VM, I'll show you Jenkins. Okay, before that, you have any questions on the GitHub? Sorry, GitHub questions, guys. Anything you have before going that one? Sorry, I didn't ask you a question.
Just a quick question, John. Where do we need to pass the test data, like the user credentials or any test clone, something like that?
Okay, so there is a different way we do it actually. So one is we can pass in the some of the scripts pass in the test sorry, Excel sheet or data. The other one is like basically if you have a unique one, like we have a one login and one log off, something like that is there. So we use our property files. So if you can go here. This one doesn't have property file. Okay, this is the one way. Let me go launch with open with so in this case, right? So we have a scenario. In this case, what we are doing in the back script, we are actually passing the property in the sorry, credential in the this one only, right? Username and password. You guys see my screen?
Yeah, we are able to see.
Ravi? Okay. Yeah. This is what we are going to pass it actually. User ID password in the specific to the scenario. We pass it in the spreadsheet also. There's another way we can do it actually in the configuration file. So for example, app to close one of the script if you go. So we are using both. So I'm just giving. So for example, this one, right? User ID password. Okay. That's what we are going to do. 1 minute. Please. Okay. That's how it is, right? In app to close perspective, we are going to use the property file. Okay, 1 minute. I'll just okay. You see my screen? Okay, like this. We are going to pass it. So now well known this, right? These are all the user ID. This is the password for the app to close. We are going to pass it through the property file.
So John, by giving this property file, the script will use each user and then continue the script running.
That's correct. So basically, like we use the two way. One is we have our own XMLs. So if you go to this app to close VA test data, this way. So, 1 minute. So one way I explained it, right? Through the this one, some of the script we use it this one this way. So other way, like
so other way we can call it like data driven testing, something like that, John.
Exactly. Some of the accounts is there, right? We are using, right? That will be used in the spreadsheet itself. Like we have the spreadsheet regression spreadsheet. We are going to use that one actually. Freedom one. So scenario one, scenario two.
And then where we are calling this spreadsheet, John, like this is a source file for the test data, right?
Yeah, this is CSV file, right? We have that is a concept called as data provider. So data provider. So they're using the data provider. We have connected all the Excel, all the CSV files here. So by using CSV file, so we call it here, and by using this data provide functions. So this is the one actually, right? Data provider functions. We have something called as what is that called? Not this one, but the appropriate one. Sorry. So this one, right? So basically, like these are all the functions we are going to use it to call those CSV file and also like get CSV file. There is a bean we can create all the columns as a beans. So that's how we created actually. So we can use it and call it as a test data driven. And this will be as a what is that called like iterator. So this iterator will be called in the script actually. So how we can call it? We can give a detail, but I'm just showing you the things. So this one. Suppose I have like this, right? Is more. This is actually each columns are created as a separate beans here actually, right? The column is configured with the scenario, test, loan type, and all. So we have here a data, source data, right? This is my CSV, right? So whatever the comparison we're going to do it. So we are going to call this, like, these are all the separate columns we are mapped there. Scenarios, test environment, service loan number, type. Like this, we call it, we have our own utility to call that. By using that, we will be mapping that in the test. So how we will map in the test? We go to, it is early to explain all this. We have a classes for you, separate classes, okay? So we will go through that one, but I'm just giving you here. Where is the test? This is the test. Okay. So that will be called as a data provider here. So for example, I'm using here a data provider, in this case a data. So it will be called inside the classes like this. So it comes. That answers your question, Suma?
Yes, 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 John. Thank you.
Okay, guys, I have 4 minutes left. Do you have any other questions? Let me know. I'm stopping my sharing and I'm stopping recording too.